Yeah, joining me now, I have News Nation political contributor Denise Grace Gitsham, former Republican congressional candidate. Long time no see, my friend. How are you? Thanks for
Good
hopping on.
morning, Mark. It's so good to be on with you.
I'm so excited to talk to you about this one, Denise. I think a lot of people have been blown away, right, on both sides
Yeah,
about his
yeah.
account. And I think pretty brave of him to change his tune in such a public way. What did you make of this?
Well, when you were saying heads were spinning, your heads were turning. I thought heads were spinning or exploding for
Yeah.
sure. Because, Bill Maher has always been someone who's been a vocal liberal. He has endorsed not only Presidents Obama and Clinton, but he also even endorsed Biden and Kamala in spite of the fact that he said they had real flaws. And, what I think he represents the silent majority of Democrats, that 40, it's actually compared to the rest of the party, 45% of Democrats want a more moderate party. That is an 11% shift from 2021. And only 29% of the Democratic Party wants it to be more progressive. So he's actually speaking up for what I call a silent majority of the Democratic Party. I'm not sure how much more silent they'll be for how much longer because it doesn't seem to be a winning strategy the way that they've been playing it.
I was going to ask you about the shift. I know one of the guests on that show, Washington Post columnist Josh Rogan, later accusing Maher of falling into a trap by talking to President Trump. Others on the left also ripping him over the meeting. But are his comments an indication of a sea of change happening politically? And what more might we see similar to this as we move forward here?
Well, I mean, I think it's sad anytime people start saying we shouldn't be talking to people because we disagree with them. Imagine if
Yeah.
that's how we lived as Americans every day. But I think the Democrats are at this crossroads. They have to decide who they are, what they stand for, and what kind of party they want to be and who they want to represent. And I think what Bill Maher saw is what a lot of Americans in the blue wall states saw and voted for, which is somebody that Main Street Americans can actually connect with. And it does surprise people because if you think about President Trump's bio, it doesn't really jive with what you would expect a man of the people to be. And yet you saw him in the little clips at the UFC game. I mean, he's shaking people's hands. He's with the people. And I think people feel that viscerally, even if they disagree with him on the
Yeah,
policies.
and I know Bill Maher at the end said, you can hate me for sharing this, but that's just how it went down. It was his account. Speaking of Democrats, Denise, I want to talk about another White House meeting that is making waves right now. You got Michigan's Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer appearing really uncomfortable during a recent Oval Office meeting with Trump. At one point, she covered her face with folders. How do you see that going over with Democrats right now as they're in this time where they're needing to figure out how to course correct here?
Well, we all know that Gretchen Whitmer has been lining up, in this row of Democrat hopefuls for the White House. And so, in a way, I feel like President Trump may have set her up and so that she was a pawn in this whole photo op at the Oval Office. And you know what I didn't realize, Marky, is that this was actually her second visit to the Oval Office since President Trump was inaugurated. And I didn't know, and I was just doing all the research for the segment. I didn't even know that she was one of the first people to send him a letter and actually included her cell phone number in it because she said, if you need anything, call me. What she recognizes is the changing politics in her own state where Trump won by 1.4% last November. We should encourage this sort of bipartisan behavior to get things done for our own constituents. We should expect that from our leaders. And I think the fact that she was there reaching out to President Trump saying, let me help you if there's anything you need in my state is an actual good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah, but also makes the photo op interesting if she did reach
It
out with her
does.
phone number to say,
Yeah.
if you need anything, call me, sir. Lastly, really quick, I couldn't let you go without asking about this. Education Secretary Linda McMahon, she's going viral after she accidentally called AI A1 twice after initially getting it right. Take a listen.
Development. I mean, how can we educate at the speed of light if we don't have the best technology around, to do that? That there's a school system that's going to start making sure that first graders or even pre-Ks have A1 teaching, every year. Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful?
Okay, well, Denise, as you've probably seen, now A1 Steak Sauce is posting on Instagram this. He said, you heard her, every school should have access to A1. Denise, are critics being too, I mean, pun intended, are they being too saucy here by hopping on this verbal slip up, or is this fair game, considering her role and position?
I think everyone could enjoy a little bit of political levity at this moment with all the other things that are happening in this world. And let's be honest, you read a teleprompter, I read teleprompters. All of us get caught up in the moment when we're trying to make a point and we look up and we try to say something, that's been written for us, and we make a mistake. Look, one's an, they look a lot like eyes. That's all I can say. But I think Democrats are really excited to have somebody to take the attention off of years of verbal gaffes from President Biden when he confused everything all the time. So, tit for tat. This is just part of the game.
Speak for yourself. I have never once made a teleprompter mistake, ever, Denise. Never.
I believe that,
Yeah.
Marky. You're
Oh my gosh, if only that were true. And it also makes me want steak at 7 o'clock in the morning. Hey,
a little
Denise Grace
hungry.
Gitsham, you're the best. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Marky. Have a great one.
You too.